What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video. We're on the PTS and we are playing with the companion system. We spent a good amount of time with it now, and I thought I would do a review as it stands now on the PTS server for Year 7 Season 3. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. Alright, so a lot of people were really happy when they heard about companions, and we're really hoping that we would get a lot from this season. Remember, it's only a global modifier. The companions are not staying. They might make a comeback at some point in the future, but as of right now, this variation is for this coming season only. Now, I've leveled him up really quickly. So this is the Spearhead active modifier that I've gone right now, which is the Assault Companion. He has an RPG that he can fire as a special move. And you can see here, I don't know if we're going to get more levels that are just not in the PTS, but as of right now, we can only level them up to level 3. And it takes no time at all to level them up, as long as you let them do the kills. So let me show you exactly how I did that. It doesn't even matter what difficulty you do this on either. It's just really easy. And what I've noticed is the companions are very capable on lower difficulty levels. They're not so capable on the higher difficulty levels, and to be honest, I feel like that really needs to be adjusted, because they're kind of useless when it comes to the higher level difficulties in the game. So I'm going to tell him to get into action here, and then I'm going to say, yeah, do me a favor, bruv, kill this guy here. And then I'm going to say, kill this guy over here, this guy running at you. And as you can see there, you get 20. It kind of pops up really fast, but if you pay very close attention, you get kind of 20 global modifier. And if you kind of let him do his own thing, I think you get 14 anyway. And it doesn't matter what difficulty. They got over 14 and 15. And obviously, as you do the journey, you get bonuses to that, towards that as well. But if you just let him fight, he'll get a whole bunch of XP and level himself up. And I'm not joking, it took 10 minutes, if that. As long as you command him as well and get the maximum bonus, it takes no time whatsoever to level these guys up on the easier difficulties. And as you can see, he's not really in any danger of dying. And that's kind of it. I just got a proficiency level up, and it looks like I got a journey level up as well. So yeah, it's really easy to level them up. If you want to boost level them up really quickly. Do I think that the level 2 and 3 for the assault are worth it? Absolutely not. The rocket launcher, although it's cool, it's very much a gimmick. It doesn't really do enough. It doesn't really do anything. It takes so long sometimes for him to pull it out and use it. The action's well and truly over. And I think that's sometimes the feedback that I feel like I need to give, is that to get this guy into action as well, sometimes my first command is actually pointing him to the action. Don't say just fight that person, because sometimes he'll just keep himself at a huge range and not really do anything. So definitely, you know, from my point of view, tell them to get in range and then tell them. So you've got to kind of double take when it comes to getting them to get into the action, which I think that really does need to be adjusted. When it comes to the companion stats, these are static across the board. But when they do change, is dependent on the traits that they've got. So this armor here is much higher. I think it's around 7,000 for the assault. Sorry, 7 million for the assault. But because I've got extra armor, you can see I get a boost up to 10, which makes sense. 3.5 brings it up to over 10. So these stats change depending on the traits that you have got for the actual companion. But overall, the system suffers when it comes to higher difficulties. So let's just flip this on the flippity flop. It does okay in heroic, but it doesn't really do okay in legendary. They die a lot, and yeah, it kind of takes away from the experience, because there's a lot going on. You want the most DPS possible. You're having to spend the time to command them to do things. And yeah, it does kind of take it away.
Find a way down there, but proceed with caution.
So for instance, here now I'm gonna get him to go over there.
Take that!
We'll get him to start fighting. I mean, as long as you help out, it can handle itself.
Just lie down and die.
But the problem is, I could have just kind of done this and run through and cleared it already. So the fact of having to take time to command him to go into place, you know, look after him a little bit, takes away from the experience a little bit.
Tango down.
You know, it is fun. I really like it, but I feel like it really does. It needs to grip it a little bit more. I think, you know, us having to babysit so much takes away from the experience a significant amount, unfortunately, when it comes to higher difficulties. I think people who are new to the game will absolutely love it. It provides that level of support to them that they kind of need when they're leveling up, when they've not yet got maxed out gear, you know, and things like that. I think that's kind of great. I think they talk way too much. The language needs to be toned down as well. But I mean, yeah, as long as you're playing, it does all right. I just wouldn't take them into legendary, and I probably wouldn't take them in to master either, unless you're just gonna let them go in there and be a decoy, and you know, just keep resummoning them over and over and over again. Now I've got slightly separate issues with the other companions, so let's get them out and I'll show you that. So as you can see here with the tech line, so the engineer companion, he has different stats and obviously he'll have different traits. I've released a video on all the possible traits if you want to check that out. But if we restart this, just going to go in on normal just to give you an idea of how he actually plays.
We need to find out what happened to the team that went to try to repair the main shade node. The federal shelter should be beneath your current position. Find a way down there, but proceed with caution.
So again, we'll get him in the fight.
How you like that?
So he kind of does the same kind of thing. Now, this guy is really good with his shotgun on lower difficulty levels, but he dies really quickly on higher difficulty levels. In fact, I'm pretty sure he could probably solo normal for you. I don't think he'll have any problem whatsoever. The only issue I have had with him is when you tell him to get his turret out.
Time to set up a turret.
It takes a while. And then
Gotta reload.
a lot of the time, he is actually doing something now. A lot of the time I've had it, he kind of doesn't do anything. He just kind of lets the turret go to work.
I'm dry. Loading shell.
But you know, that turret did nothing. I don't even think I saw it hit a normal bad guy once. The specials are, you know, pretty underwhelming when it comes to being specials, and we really wanted them to be absolutely awesome. So again, there's a few improvements I feel like need to be made there. I feel like the rocket launcher, the turret need to work quicker and do more for sure. And survivability on higher difficulty levels needs to certainly be addressed as well. And it would be nice, you know, for me not to have to tell them to go right up front. You know, if he's following me into the mission, I should just be able to go get him and not try and shoot him from a silly range. So let's change now to the medic. And we'll restart the level and we'll give you the pros and cons with this person as well. Alright, so with the medic, you probably wouldn't be sending them into the fray, right? You'd be like, just stay back and heal us and things like that. But the healing doesn't really happen unless you've built up the CE. So you kind of have to push them to do things so that you can get, you know, mark them, do the crossfire and things like that, so that you can get everything kind of built up.
You're not cut out for this.
Now, obviously, there could be better
This is like working a day job.
of the modifiers, which we'll look at that in a minute to kind of build up the CE just a little bit better. Well, I'll be back once I've got it built up. All right, now he's got his boost packed up. He's going to get the med pack out. He takes a little time to put it down.
Engaging hostile.
And then we get this really, really huge radius.
Not so tough after all.
Which is pretty great. You know, that's pretty good. I don't know how good the helium really is. But it doesn't really feel like it lasts long enough, or that I can get him to get that out quick enough, if that makes sense. Having a healer in the squad usually means pretty much 24/7 healing. I think it would be really good if he wasn't damaging at all, if he was just focusing on keeping us healed rather than him doing, you know, any damage at all. I think would be much, much better. So now we know all that, let's take a bit of a look in the minor attributes to kind of see if we're missing a trick with anything. So we can gain bonus armor. We can, you know, if your companion takes more than 30% damage in 10 seconds, they heal, okay? Which, I mean, that could come in useful for survivability in higher levels. When you revive your companion, allies heal, so that's not going to help us out. If your companion is targeted by 3 or more enemies, receive 3% armor regen. Using an armor kit heals your companion. So again, I feel like we're having to take away from building CL to have to keep our companion alive in higher difficulties, which again doesn't feel great too much. Then let's move down to tactics. After your companion uses their active, both you and gain 20% movement speed. That's not great. So 15% to instantly gain 50% command link after your companion uses their active. So, I mean, this is kind of good. That's, you know, we want this, especially for the healer, which we were using it anyway. We certainly don't need any more range for the healer. Command link buffs last 50% longer. So for the healer, we probably should be using command locked in. Locked in. So you kind of want that one. Yeah, okay. So we probably kind of lose that one and run command discipline. But 50% still isn't very long. It doesn't last very long at all. And then priority channel. These three for building CL seem to be the best. We're not bothered about headshot damage. We're not bothered about that. Not bothered about that. We're not bothered about that. And I think initially when I tested this out, I wanted to try and use the system to generate more damage. But it seems now it's very dependent on which one that you are using. For the assault, I probably would generate more damage. Well, in fact, I wouldn't change much. I would just kind of change this one. You know, that we don't need it to last 50% longer. He shoots a rocket launcher. But, you know, I'd probably go with no escape. That's kind of what I think I was running. Or, you know, supply line. These two are pretty good. But running priority channel and locked in seem pretty much, you know, 100% ones to be running. Just so we can get that CL up and use them more. Especially for the engineer and especially for the healer. And again, for both of them, running these three just seems to be, you know, the three that we would have to run to make them, you know, them commands absolutely worthwhile. The turret doesn't last very long. The healing box doesn't last very long. So yeah, that's kind of my feedback and, you know, review as of right now on the initial PTS and what the feedback is I will be supplying. They essentially still, they need to be doing a little bit more. They need a bit more of a buff, if anything. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. There are a few other quirky bugs where they'll sometimes kind of just disappear. This one's hanging around with me last time, but the other one seemed to be, the assault one really wanted to leave the level because I think he was more concerned with something that was going on above me. And sometimes the rocket launcher guy will just run around with the rocket launcher and do absolutely nothing. So there are some quirky bugs in it sometimes as well. It's not 100% when it comes to usability. But the premise is a lot of fun. And I think that it could actually make a significant, you know, change into next season. Yeah, all right, it's not damage. We've been used to a lot of extra damage this season. But I think it just needs to be doing just a little bit more. And there's a few bugs here and there that could do with being ironed out. And they might have already done that already. After all, this is a PTS build. Let me know, as always, what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.